We are live here at Petco Park as the Padres drop a fifth consecutive game. They lose the series opener against the Cincinnati Reds by a final score of 5-2. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. Padres drop to 14-18 with the defeat. Reds improved to 16-13. It is now an 0-4 homestand for the Padres, and ever since the eighth inning in Colorado on Thursday, the Padres had a 9-4 lead in that game. Rockies would score 6 runs to go on and win it 10-9. Since that point, everything has not gone well at all for the San Diego Padres. They are now losers of 5 in a row, and again, all of a sudden here, 4 games below 500 at 14-18. Lot to do on our post-game coverage. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Schultz coming up in a little bit. We'll have all the radio highlights, break down this game in its entirety, full out-of-town scoreboard, your comments, and much more. And look, I could sit here and tell you, hey, Matt Waldron found a way to settle in. 6 innings, 4 earned runs given up after what was a rocky start, giving up 4 runs in the first 3 innings. I could tell you, hey, the Padres battled in the 9th inning, found a way to finally get a hit after the first. We'll get to that in a second. Found a way to get the tying runs to the plate. But the story here tonight was everything that transpired for the Padres offense from the time there were 2 on and nobody out in the second to the time that Jake Cronenworth hit a 2-out double in the 9th inning. Between Nick Lodolo, Fernando Cruz, and Alexis Diaz, the Padres had 23 batters in a row retired. 23. After there were 2 on with nobody out in the second inning until they were down to their final out in the 9th inning. 23 consecutive batters in a row set down, mostly by Nick Lodolo, then a 1-2-3 8th inning for Fernando Cruz, and Alexis Diaz got the first 2 outs of the 9th inning. 23 in a row. And that says the story right there. The Padres offense did not have really anything going on aside from the leadoff home run by Jurickson Profar. They did get 2 on after they were trailing 3-1 in the second, but after that, and this really is where the game, I feel like it turned. Padres are down 3-1 in the second. They get 2 walks, 1 to Bogaerts, 1 to Kim. They're threatening again against Nick Lodolo. But then Eggy Rosario strikes out, Jose Azocar strikes out, Kyle Higashioka strikes out, 7-8-9 in the Padres lineup. And again, that was the start of 23 in a row set down by Reds pitching at one point in this game. And the quality of the at-bats, whether it was in the second inning with runners on or really as this game went along, they weren't great. Lodolo, Cruz, Diaz, until they got into some trouble, they were making quick work of the Padres. And you know, look, you hoped that the skid would stop after the series against Philadelphia, that great Phillies team playing really well, doing what they did this weekend. You hope that was just more a reflection of the Phillies and what they're doing right now. But here tonight, the Padres offense, it was just, I mean, pick whatever word you want. I mean, not a very inspiring performance here tonight. And again, when you go through a game, when you're only down by 3 with some of the names the Padres have in this lineup, and you have 23 in a row set down. Look, Lodolo was good. He's off to a really good start for a young left-hander, but there cannot be any tipping of the cap tonight. That's a young left-hander, albeit off to a nice start. He's got a 1.88 ERA in 4 starts, so I'm not sitting here and saying it was the easiest guy on the mound, even though it might have been somebody you never heard of. He's a highly touted prospect who's now healthy and pitched really, really well tonight, but there will be no tipping of the cap, at least here on the post-game show, because, look, the Padres trailed 4-1 most of this game, and they just could not get anything going offensively. Again, 1-2-3 inning in the third, same in the fourth, same in the fifth, same in the sixth, same in the seventh, same in the eighth, and the first 2 retired in the 9th inning after they stranded 2 on by going down 3 in a row to end the second. So, man, really, really rough night for the Padres offense. Did they show some life late? Yes. Did they get the tying runs to the plate? Yes. But here tonight, that cannot be the story. And I've done a lot of sitting here on the post game and pointed out the positives and pointed out that it is late April and all of that. But throughout the course of this game, as this offense was going down 1-2-3 after 1-2-3, man, it was tough to watch at times here tonight. So just a really rough performance by the offense. We'll talk about Matt Waldron's outing. We'll talk about some of what went well in Waldron's outing, what didn't go well. But look, I think at the end of the day for Matt Waldron, 6 innings, 4 runs given up. You know what? You'll kind of take that out of your number 5 starter. So that is not the top story here tonight. Again, did the Padres make it interesting in the 9th inning? They did. But it's hard to win a baseball game when you have 23 in a row retired at one point, and that's what the Padres had here tonight. So we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Very interested to hear what he has to say after this one. Padres, again, have now lost 5 consecutive games. They are 14-18. We've said it many times. The schedule is not easy throughout the month of May into early June, and the Padres have to figure out a way sooner rather than later to get this ship turned around, because right now 4 games below 500, 5 losses in a row, 2 more against the Reds. Could get a little out of hand quick if they don't start figuring out how to play better and hit better, certainly better than what they did here tonight. Final score, Reds 5, Padres 2. More postgame coming up after this on the Padres Radio Network.
Sick of paying through the nose for bottled
Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here tonight, the Reds 5 and the Padres 2 as the Padres drop the series opener to Cincinnati. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. The Padres losing streak reaches 5 games in a row, and the Padres all of a sudden, after they were on the verge on Thursday in Colorado of moving 2 games above 500, taking 3 out of 4 from the Rockies in Colorado, sitting at 15-13, and quite frankly, you feeling, I think, pretty good with where this team was at. Well, after that 8th inning in Colorado, it has not gone well at all. Padres have now lost 5 in a row, and all of a sudden they are 14-18, 4 games below 500. So here on April 29th, they've got to hold the dig out of, and we'll see if they can do that in the coming days. A lot to do on our postgame coverage. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in just a little bit. Stay tuned for that. Interested to hear what Mike Shildt has to say after this one on what was a really, really frustrating night for the Padres offense in particular. Let's tell you about tonight's game with our game highlights.
What moments had the biggest impact on today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game recap on the Padres Radio Network.
Let's start in the first inning. Matt Waldron took the mound for the Padres in the top of the first. Waldron struck out the leadoff man, but then it was Elly De La Cruz.
The 0-2 to De La Cruz, sent in the air to deep center field. Zokar's back to watch. This one gonna go into the second deck of the bullpen to the left of center field. Well, he's fast, but he can also do that. 8th home run of the year for De La Cruz, and one of the more impressive blasts we have seen at Petco this season. The Reds take a 1-0 lead in the first.
That was all Waldron allowed in the first inning. In the bottom half, Nick Lodolo took the mound for the Reds. Jurickson Profar led off.
Issue he had last year. And Profar hammers one to deep left field. Steer is back to look. Gonna go. Long home run to left for Profar. And a leadoff home run. 1-1 here in the first.
But the Reds responded in the top of the second. Nick Martini hit a one-out single. Jeimer Candelario got Martini to third base with a double. Santiago Espinal drove in Martini with a sacrifice fly. Reds had a 2-1 lead. On that play, Candelario went to third base. That was significant because Matt Waldron then committed a balk. Candelario scored from third. Reds had a 3-1 lead. In the bottom of the second, the Padres had a golden scoring opportunity after Lodolo walked the first two batters, but he then bounced back to strike out the bottom third of the Padres lineup to get out of the jam. In the top of the third, the Reds got a leadoff double from Will Benson. He was still on second base for Spencer Steer.
Pitch is a knuckleball line fair over Machado and down the left field line into the corner. Benson will score easily. Steer is going to replace him at second base. It's an RBI double, and now a 4-1 Reds lead in the third.
So the Reds had a 4-1 lead heading bottom three. After getting out of the jam in the second, Nick Lodolo was cruising. A 1-2-3 third. A 1-2-3 fourth inning. He retired the side in order in the fifth inning. Meanwhile, Matt Waldron settled in. He ended up going 6 innings, allowed just the 4 early runs to keep the Padres in it. But the problem was the Padres offense wasn't doing anything against Lodolo. He tossed a 1-2-3 bottom of the 6th inning. At that point, Lodolo had retired 15 in a row. Jeremiah Estrada pitched a 1-2-3 top of the 7th inning out of the Padres bullpen. Lodolo finished his outing with a, you guessed it, 1-2-3 inning. Lodolo retired 18 consecutive Padres to finish his outing. 7 innings, 1 run, 1 hit given up for Lodolo. That was the leadoff home run to Profar. Estrada then pitched the scoreless top of the 8th inning. He was great tonight. Kept it a 4-1 game. In the bottom half, Fernando Cruz entered out of the Reds bullpen. He retired the side in order. That was 21 straight Padres retired in this game. In the top of the 9th inning, Reds still leading 4-1. They would end up getting a run that was charged against Tom Cosgrove. The base hit that scored the run was Santiago Espinal with an RBI single. That was against Stephen Kolek. It made it a 5-1 Reds lead. So we went to the bottom half of the 9th inning. Padres trying to make some noise down by 4. Alexis Diaz came on for the Reds. Popped out Jurickson Profar, struck out Fernando Tatis Jr. Then finally, Jake Cronenworth hit a 2-out double that broke that 23-in-a-row streak of batters set down by Reds pitching. Up next was Manny Machado.
Pitch to Machado, swung on, hit through the right side of the base hit. Cronenworth is rounding third. Benson's throw will be cut off. RBI single Manny Machado, and it's 5-2 here in the bottom of the 9th.
So the Padres had a little bit of life. Then Xander Bogaerts hit an infield single to Elly De La Cruz, who threw it to first base. He threw it over the head of the first baseman Candelario. It hit the netting on the first base side. That allowed Manny to go to third base, allowed Bogaerts to go to second. But most importantly, it meant Ha-Seong Kim stepped to the plate with the Padres now trailing 5-2. Kim represented the tying run.
Thinking about a game here in June of 2021. Ha-Seong Kim, a 2-run home run in the 8th inning against the Reds. This time, though, he'll swing and miss strike 3, and the ball game is over. Padres showed some fight in the bottom of the 9th inning, but too much quiet out of the bats here tonight against Lodolo and Cruz, and the Reds take Game 1 of this series by a final of 5-2.
And that was really well illustrated by Jesse Ackler. Showed some fight in the 9th inning, but too much quiet. The final score, Reds 5, Padres 2. Padres have now lost 5 in a row. They dropped to 14-18. Reds improved to 16-13 on the year, and now the Padres will try to bounce back in Game 2 of this 3-game set against Cincinnati tomorrow here at Petco Park. Let's go downstairs and hear some post-game reaction from Mike Schilt.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Schultz. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Mike, what do you think of the at-bats between the 2nd and the 9th inning?
We didn't have any hits, so I'm not sure what you want me to say. I mean, clearly...
There's a lot of quick at-bats.
Yeah, I get it. I understand the question. I get it completely. It's fair. Couple things in play. Guys pretty good. Got to tip your hat. Also, you want to appreciate the fact that he's had 2 secondary pitches, that were working, the slider, curveball, whatever he was calling it, the heater. Whether we stuck with our approach consistently enough, that's something that we'll have to look at and explore.
Other than an obscure balk, almost another quality start by Matt Waldron, who, once again, after the early runs.
Yeah, I mean, we'll show up, boom. It's not in the ground rules where they get to hit a home run every first inning and start the game, right? I mean, we got to change the ground rules maybe. Holy man. But yeah, Pro answers back, obviously, and then would have been go out in the 2nd and they add on, and, we got first and 2nd, nobody out, and weren't able to advance any runners, to your question a little bit earlier. And then, he's got to declare once the runner gets to 3rd, from 2nd, 3rd, and of course he balked him in. Right call. But yeah, 6 innings, did a nice job overall, and just we couldn't come back.
What do you think the effect is of all the early runs, say the first inning, even the 2nd and 3rd? Your offense is finding itself having to dig out of a hole.
Yeah, it just adds up a little bit. We need to get a little, that momentum we talk about. It's not entirely a momentum game, but definitely can be. And, you're down early, and we do punch back. And then the shutdown inning part that has been a mystery to this point, where we haven't been able to do that near consistently enough. And that creates that momentum when you do it. And we haven't been able to figure that one out yet.
In that 2nd inning, you work a couple walks. What changed from then on? Because you had kind of him on the ropes there, and then from there on, he wasn't.
He was really good. I mean, again, it gets to be a combination of what his stuff was and what our approach was, and that's something we'll have to explore. I think it's been a strength of ours. I know it's been a strength of ours all year. And when the guys got really good stuff, and we've got to figure out a way to make sure that easier said than done. Maybe elevate him, get him out over the plate. Not maybe chase some of his pitches, and that's something we'll have to continue to look at as well in this game. But we've done a good job with it overall. Just guys pretty tough. We run into a string of pitching, but we clearly need to continue to have consistent at bats.
How do you view the last couple of weeks for Tatis? He's hit balls pretty hard. Maybe not as much luck, but not many results either.
Yeah, no, I think it's probably a microcosm of what's going on, in the game right now for us. Like, just the proverbial ball didn't bounce your way, and he's hit some balls right on the screws. And, he had a one-hopper missile yesterday right at the shortstop for a double play, first pitch, and hit a ball deep to center, and hit some balls good. His velocity's good. It's one of those things that, finds a couple of holes. We're probably not mentioning it, but I like his approach. His chase rate's good. All the things that you look at to evaluate hitters are positive. It's just a matter of finding some grass where nobody's standing.
Another small sample, but you guys are 1-10 in night games at Petco this year, despite still drawing very well. What do you make of that? Is there anything you can read into that at all?
I don't, Dennis. If there was, we'd clearly do something about it. I mean, I got to tell you, it's It's disappointing for everybody's chair, including mine. Is we get the crowds that we get, the support that we get, the excitement we get, the enthusiasm we get at home. It's candidly. I mean, I saw a stat the other day of all the tickets that are sold. Petco Park has the most occupancy of those tickets. So we're filling the crowd. We're filling the stadium, and tickets sold, and then the people are showing up, and we clearly have done some things in some day games that have been positive. But to your point, we haven't been good enough in night games. We just hadn't been good enough at home, and I'll take the brunt of the responsibility if there needs to be any responsibility had.
Who is starting tomorrow?
You, Darvish.
Mike, the losing streak started in Colorado. What do you make of? You talk a lot about effort. What do you make of the results that have happened on the field?
We lost in Colorado, and then we have not won since. Is your question? I guess I'm not sure what you want me to answer. The effect of that
is there a lingering effect to the way?
I don't know. I don't believe that. That's the one thing. It was a tough one. Don't get me wrong. It was frustrating. I think I was probably pretty clear about that. For the way the guys played and performed in the getaway day in that ballpark, and did so many things well. But I think it's a hangover effect from that. I do not. The one thing that you manage, you play, you're in this game long enough, especially you come home and you just figure out a way, like we play again tomorrow. The thing we can't do now is to have this, oh no, woe's me, we're down, that kind of, because that's the only issue that I'll have, and I don't see that. I see good effort. I see the right look and play, executing and do the right things, intent and preparation. I don't see any of that, and I'll live and die by that. But clearly it started there, and I can't excuse the fact that it's happened. But is it a carryover? I personally don't have any cause and effect to it.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt after tonight's game as the Padres fall 5-2 to the Cincinnati Reds. Sam Levitt back with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up on our post-game coverage. And we'll dive a little bit deeper into what Mike Shildt had to say there and about Nick Lodolo's performance and the fact that the Padres just had no answer for Lodolo throughout his outing after the first inning and the 23 in a row retired and all of it, all the things we've talked about already in the opening segment and here in this segment. I do want to touch on the second to last question, I believe, there about the struggles at home. The Padres are now 6-12 at home to begin this season. I believe they've won one night game here so far, which is hard to believe when April is almost over. But forget about the night game part of it. Let's just focus on 6-12. That is and continues to be, for me, one of the really, really frustrating, concerning aspects of the last couple of seasons. And this is going back to 23, because the fans have been unbelievable. And I'm not saying that just because I'm sitting here at Petco Park and there are Padres fans listening. They have been. If you're here, you can see it. The place is mostly packed every night. There were 39,000 plus in the building on a Monday night. The place was sold out yesterday, 42,000 plus. The place was sold out on Saturday, 43,000 plus. We're not at the end of April. There have already been 9 sellouts. And the other crowds, if they're not sold out, they're pretty darn close. This team must start, A, playing better at home, and B, rewarding these fans more. Because, I mean, tonight, from the second until there were 2 outs in the 9th inning, I mean, there wasn't a lot to cheer about, and it wasn't very fun to watch. So this team, wherever they got to get it from inside, in their soul, they got to start playing better at home. I mean, it is not rewarding these fans. It's just not. And I know that has, nothing to do with actually what happened on the field tonight, but I continue to sit here and be amazed by the fan support, and credit to the Padres fans. But this has been something now that's been a problem for 2 seasons, and it's continued into this year, where there are just nights where this place is packed, and the fans are doing a great job. They're doing their part, and it just does not happen on the field. So they must start playing better at home. 6-12. I mean, and again, to be quite frank, if they want to be a postseason team, they got to start playing better at home to rack up wins. This should be a place where it's a home field advantage, where they should win a lot. Okay, and I know the fans have nothing to do with hitting a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. I get it. But that continues to be, I want to focus on that part just for a second. That continues to be one of the real, I think, frustrations about the last couple of seasons. And this one to this point, maybe it'll turn around. I hope it does. But the fans deserve more. They do. And we'll see if they can start turning it around here at home. 6-12 at home. And I believe one night game they've won here at home, which is hard to believe. So we'll see. We'll continue to break this one down and continue to bring you our post-game coverage here on the Padres Radio Network. And there was certainly more to chew on there from Mike Schilt, his post-game comments after this one. Again, the final score, Reds 5, Padres 2. More after this on the Padres Radio Network.
At Grand Jetto's Farm
Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here tonight, Reds 5 and the Padres 2, as the Padres have now lost 5 games in a row. They dropped to 14-18 on the year, 6-12 here at home, 1-10 in night games here at Petco Park, which is hard to believe. 1-10 in night games here at Petco Park. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft at the Western Metal Building here in downtown San Diego. As we wrap this one up, we've already done a lot. Certainly broke down the main issue in this game in the opening segment, and that was the Padres offense from the second inning through there were 2 outs in the ninth inning, having 23 consecutive batters retired. That was after the Padres trailed 3-1 in the second. 2 walks given up by Nick Lodolo to Bogarts and Kim to put 2 on with nobody out. Lodolo bounced back to strike out Rosario, Azokar, and Higashioka, 7, 8, 9 hitters, to get out of the jam. From that point on, Nick Lodolo would not allow another base runner. And from his outing through 7 innings to Fernando Cruz, a 1-2-3 8th inning, to Alexis Diaz getting the first 2 outs of the 9th inning, 23 consecutive batters retired. Padres were in it the whole way. I mean, it was a 4-1 game, and we'll talk more about Matt Waldron as we go here, because I thought Matt, once again, despite early trouble, actually was fine in this game. Considering number 5 starter, 6 innings, 4 runs, I would take that if you told me that before the game. Could there be things that were better? Yeah. But he was not the problem, in my opinion, here tonight. The 23 in a row retired from the second through there being 2 outs in the 9th inning. That was the problem here tonight. The Padres did make it interesting in the 9th inning. They did get the tying run to the plate in Ha-Sung Kim, but too little too late, not enough, and the Padres fall 5-2. Let's focus on one of the positives from this game, from the Padres side of things, and that was the work of one of the guys out of the bullpen. Let's tell you more about it with our relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher was able to come in and slam the door shut? It's time for the relief pitcher of the game, in support of the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank, providing food assistance to local children, families, and seniors in need. To get help or give help, visit SanDiegoFoodBank.org.
0-2 to 3-2, and Steer swings and misses at a fastball, strike 3. Second K for Estrada, who has set down all 6 men that he has faced.
Jeremiah Estrada, big bright spot out of the bullpen, and I think, and again, I'm not trying to distract you from the issues here tonight, but I will say this. Jeremiah Estrada was great tonight again. 2 scoreless innings, 6 up, 6 down, struck out 2. And I continue to be very, very encouraged by Estrada, and I get the feeling he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Right now his season, 5 innings and a third, no runs given up, 2 hits. He struck out 5, walked 3. And that's on top of being really good in the minor leagues at AAA when he got sent down. That's on top of having a really good spring, and that's on top of having really good stuff. And that's something we could see from the moment he started taking the mound in Peoria. So it is a bright spot. The Padres, I think, have something here in Estrada. Really good again here tonight. 6 up, 6 down. And look, at that point, it's a 4-1 game. I mean, this is not low-leverage stuff. You're trying to keep your team in the game. At that point, the Padres are trailing 4-1. It's a game. It was really good here tonight. So, thankfully, there was a bright spot tonight. That was Jeremiah Estrada, and that's why he's our relief pitcher of the game here tonight. Very nicely done by Estrada, and I think you have to be very encouraged by what he's done. And again, it's not just what he's done as of late here since coming back to the major leagues, but I think it's a mix of the stuff. I think it's a mix of what he did in spring. I think it's a mix of what he did at AAA. This is kind of a sustained run of really good pitching for Jeremiah Estrada for the most part. So that's a developing story to me in this Padres bullpen, as he did really, really nicely once again here tonight. All right, when we come back here on the Padres Radio Network, we'll start working in some of your tweets, DMs, phone calls. If you want to sound off about this game, I'm sure you have a lot to say. You can tweet at me at Sammy Lev, SAMMYLEV. Instagram DM's open as well. Sammy Lev there too, SAMMYLEV. If you're watching on the video stream, you can comment on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Let me know, and we may read your comment on the air. And, of course, phone lines are open, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. May have time to squeeze in a phone call or two as we wrap this one up. Final score, Reds 5, Padres 2. More after this on the Padres Radio Network.
TimberTech is the number
Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here tonight, the Reds 5 and the Padres 2, as the Padres fall to 14-18 on the year. The Reds improved to 16-13. Padres have now lost 5 consecutive games, and this one was tough here tonight. I think all the 5 losses in this streak have been tough in their own ways. Obviously, just sort of a collapse, if you will, in Colorado in that 8th inning on Thursday. But then after that, the Phillies came into town, and they played really well. And they're a great team that's playing really well, and the Padres did not, and they swept them. And then here tonight, it was sort of a different story, right? I mean, the Reds, look, they're playing pretty well. They're sitting at 16-13. They're going to be in the postseason mix, I think, when all this said and done, whether they end up making it or not. You know, again here tonight, and you know, we've talked a little bit about Matt Waldron's outing. We haven't talked a ton about it, but I'll use this as an opportunity to talk a little bit more about it. You know, he gives up the home run to De La Cruz, and it's another home run given up by Padres starting pitching here at home, and it's been a rough go as of late for Padres starting pitching, especially over the weekend, and really going back in 11 games now, or I should say 12 now, and the Padres are now 3-9. In their last 12 games. So when I talk about a 5-game losing streak, it goes well beyond that, kind of the issues now. That goes back to that 1-0 defeat in Milwaukee, the one where Michael King pitched really well, had a no-hitter going into the 7th inning, and the Padres couldn't find a way to get a run across, and they end up losing that game 1-0. The point being, since then, calculated it this morning when it was at 11 games from that point on. I don't know what the number is right now. I'm going to have to calculate it again a little bit later. But the starting pitching ERA was up near 6. So, look, offensively, there have been problems, no doubt, tonight included. But starting pitching has also been a fairly major issue as of late. And again, here tonight, the Padres are down before they take a swing with the De La Cruz home run. Now, Profar ties it up, makes it 1-1. But then, much like the Phillies series, the Reds answer right back. The Padres don't maintain a lead. 2 runs in the 2nd inning. You know, sac fly. There was the weird balk with Waldron, which I still don't totally understand. But apparently it appeared he, started in a stretch position, then went into a windup. And that appeared to be, at least from what I could tell, what the balk was. Run comes in, makes it 3-1, gives up another run in the 3rd to make it 4-1. And look, it's a mix of everything right now. It's not just the offense when you look at the last 12 games. It's on the starting pitching, too. It's awfully hard to win baseball games when you're consistently behind 3, 4, 5 runs early in games. And that's the way it's been a lot as of late. It's very hard to win baseball games when you're constantly playing from behind. And in yesterday's case and tonight's case, every time you do answer, there's no shutdown inning. There's an immediate response, okay? But Matt Waldron, let's talk about him for a second. Gives up the 4 early runs in the first 3 innings. But I'll tell you what, from that point on, he settles in the 4th. He settles in the 5th. He puts together his first 1-2-3 inning in the 6th. 6 innings, 4 runs, no walks, 6 hits, 97 pitches. He salvaged it, and to Matt's credit, he's done that a bunch the early part of this season. Has he been perfect tonight? No. Were the first 3 innings tonight really costly? Yes. But out of your number 5 starter, could it be better? Sure. But, again, this is one of these outings for Waldron where you come away saying, you know what? It was all right. It was all right. It wasn't perfect, but it was all right. Was it the 6 innings, 1 run given up in Colorado? No. But it was all right. So I don't view Waldron as the problem tonight, and I don't view Waldron at this moment as a problem in this rotation, considering he's your number 5. Can he be better? Yeah. But to me, more of the responsibility to carry this thing has to come from the top 4 of Musgrove, Darvish, who's going to come back and pitch tomorrow. We heard that from Mike Schilt earlier. If you're just joining us, he'll start tomorrow, come off the IL. But Musgrove, Darvish, Cease, and King, they got to lead the way. And then I think what you get from Waldron, if you can get outings of 5, 6 innings, keep you in ball games, I'll take that from Matt Waldron. So to me, he was not the issue tonight. Did he put him in a great spot, down 4-1 after 2.5 innings? No. But to me, he was not the issue tonight. Again, I just keep coming back to 23 in a row set down. From there being 2 on, nobody out in the second, to there being 2 outs in the ninth. 23 in a row. I mean, I don't care who the pitcher is, and said it in the opening segment, you just weren't going to find me, at least tonight, tipping my cap. And Lodolo was really good. Lodolo is a talented left-hander. He may not be somebody you've heard of before tonight, but he was a high draft pick who's dealt with some injuries and seems to be finding it now in his 3rd year in the major leagues, and he's got a sub-2 ERA now in 4 starts. He's been really good. He has. So, you may look at it and say, well, who's Nick Lodolo? Well, he did a really nice job tonight, but with the names in this lineup, the experience in this lineup, you got to be able to do something against Lodolo and then the Reds bullpen. I mean, at no point this season should 23 batters in a row. It happened tonight. But should you think that 23 batters in a row get set down? So that was the problem here tonight, and we shall see if the Padres can get this offense going tomorrow. And like I said in the opening segment, not trying to be doom and gloom here, but 14-18, all of a sudden you're 4 games below. You'd have to win 4 in a row to just get back to 500. These things are hard. We learned this last year, that if you get below and it gets out of hand, it can be really hard to fight your way back. So the rest of this series is important. The schedule coming up is not easy. We've been over it before. It's imperative that this team on April 29th starts playing a better brand of baseball offensively in the rotation. It's a little bit of everything. Here tonight, to me, this was about the offense, the lack of offense, really, aside from the leadoff home run by Profar, having a little rally in the second with a couple of walks, and then making it interesting in the 9th inning, but that wasn't enough here tonight. It was already a 5-1 game. They got a run to make it 5-2, got the tying runs to the plate, but that was not enough in this game here tonight. Let's quickly tell you about our player of the game.
Which player had the biggest impact on today's game? Let's find out who is today's player of the game. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Catch every game at Patties and Pints. Plus, enjoy $4 beer every Thursday. Visit valleyviewcasino.com today.
Our player of the game here tonight, again, it's not giving me any great pleasure to keep on doing this each and every night, but it's got to be Lodolo. I mean, how is it not? It's got to be Lodolo. 7 innings, 1 run given up, 1 hit, the leadoff home run to Profar, walked 2, struck out 11 on 99 pitches. That was the part of it for Lodolo here tonight. I mean, he just got really, really efficient as this game got deeper, and that was, again, part of the frustrating aspect of this game, just the quick at-bats, the quality of at-bats, and I don't know if that was the approach to be so aggressive. It seemed like the Padres were more patient early, and then as this game went on against Lodolo, they got more and more aggressive. But to give you an idea of kind of how efficient he became, the first inning he threw 17 pitches. The second inning he threw 26 because he walked the first 2. That was a long inning. Padres didn't score, though. Then, the rest of his innings, 11 pitches, 16, 12, 8, 9, and that was it. So again, I'm going backwards here from the 7th and backwards. 9 pitches, 8 pitches, 12 pitches. Those are the final 3 innings. He threw a grand total of 29 pitches in the final 3 innings of his outing. So really, really quick work of the Padres offense here tonight. And unfortunately, the Padres fall by a final score of 5-2. All right, we've got some phone calls coming in, some comments, and I do want to give you a chance to get your thoughts in here on the post-game show. I do want to get through the out-of-town scoreboard here quickly. Let's tell you about the out-of-town scoreboard on this Monday night in the big leagues.
Let's take a trip around the bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard here tonight. Everything's gone final. A's beat the Pirates 5-1 in Oakland. Tyler Nevin a home run in that game for the A's. They are now 13-17. I don't mean to alarm anybody, but the Padres, and they've played a couple more games. Padres have more losses than the Oakland A's right now. That's got to change. 13-17 the A's are right now as they win it 5-1 in Oakland tonight. Dodgers beat the Diamondbacks 8-4 in Arizona. Shohei Ohtani a home run in that game for LA. Mariners beat the Braves 2-1 in Seattle. Mitch Garver a walk-off home run for Seattle in that one. They're now 16-13. Angels beat the Phillies 6-5 in Anaheim. Joe Adell a home run in that game for the Angels. Rays beat the Brewers 1-0 in Milwaukee. Twins beat the White Sox 3-2 in Chicago. Carlos Santana a game-tying 2-run home run in that one for Minnesota. Cubs beat the Mets 3-1 in New York. That was just part of the story because Luis Severino had a no-hitter into the 8th inning. 7 no-hit innings tonight for Mets starter Luis Severino. They lost. Cubs tied it, then they took a lead on a Christopher Morel go-ahead 2-run home run in the 9th inning. Cubs win it 3-1 over the Mets. Frustrating night in New York for the Mets. Blue Jays beat the Royals 6-5 in Toronto. Nationals beat the Marlins 7-2 in Miami. Big 4-game series this week between the Orioles and the Yankees in Baltimore. 2-0 Orioles win in Game 1 of that series between two teams that a lot of people expect to battle for the AL East crown. Gunnar Henderson, who is playing like an MVP early part of this season, leadoff home run in that game for Baltimore. That would have been enough as they go on to win it 2-0. Grayson Rodriguez, 5+ scoreless innings in that game for the O's. And that's a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Monday night across the major leagues. All right, let's just include some comments here. Nathan on Twitter saying, Lev, you're great, but can you have a little fire about the lack of fight in the club? Nathan, look, have I been banging my fists on the table? No, I encourage you to go back and listen to my opening segment. I mean, look, I'm not screaming on here, and I don't scream. I thought I made my point, and I'll leave it at that, and go back and watch the opening segment when I'm, talking about 23 in a row set down. Okay, I'm not going to slam my fists on April 29th, but you have every right to be very, 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 very frustrated with what you saw here tonight. What else we got here? We've got on Instagram, Steven writing in, spot on about needing to give the fans more. Yeah, look, it's something I talked about a little bit earlier. Yeah, it's very disappointing that this team is 6-12 at home and has won one night game here at home. Yeah, it's disappointing. And I talked about it earlier. It's now something that's gone back into 2023, and the fact that this place is continually packed and the fans do their job. And to me, as far as racking up wins here and nice performances here, they have not been rewarded how they should. That's got to change. It's just got to change. It's got to change for a lot of reasons. Got to change for the fans because I think they deserve it, but it's also got to change for this team to do what they want to do this year. You can't be 6-12 at home. You can't have that kind of record at home if you want to make the postseason. Not for this team. So we'll see if they can turn it around. I do want to go to the phones, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I don't promise to have all the answers for you, but I'll try to provide a little emotional support on this Monday night. Let's go to Rancho Bernardo. It's Anthony on the Padres postgame show. Hi, Anthony.
Hey, Sammy. Hey, we forgot to mention Profire's highlight tonight.
Anthony,
not his home run. Not his home run. His bat flip as he's turning first base. Sammy, we got swept by the Phillies. How many times did you see someone on the Phillies carry their bat 2-3 feet before first base, look at the dugout hollering and screaming and flip their bat? I'm tired of seeing these guys flip their bat coming off. They're on a 4-game losing streak. Okay, you tied the game 1-1. Big deal. They do it day in and day out. And I'll be honest, if these guys played 20 years ago, he's getting hit, next time he comes up. But the game's changed. But the bottom line is, they showboat for no reason. Did you see the Phillies do it, Sammy?
Oh, well, look, Anthony, and appreciate the phone call. Look, if you've listened to me before, I don't have a major problem with the bat flips or the look into the dugout. I mean, look, and you talk about how guys would have got hit, back when, look, the game's changed. I mean, Ellie De La Cruz, he was, celebrating on his home run. And of all guys, I mean, Profar's like the guy who is playing so well right now, and I think far beyond a lot of our expectations. I understand where you're looking at 4-game losing skid. It's a home run to tie the game in the first inning. I understand, but I don't get worked up about that stuff. I don't. There are plenty of teams and great players and guys and teams that win that do the same stuff. I don't get worked up about that stuff. I don't have a problem with it personally. In the context of a 4-game losing streak, I guess I sort of understand what you're feeling and your point, but I don't think that's winning or losing the games. I don't. And I think that's, especially with Profar. Like, come on. I mean, Profar has been great. I mean, he's like the one guy right now that you can point to and say that guy's absolutely doing his job night in, night out. And by the way, did a great job in the first inning. De La Cruz homers. Profar says, all right, let's get the run back. It's been great. Came into tonight leading the team in batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage, and yeah, he's not the guy that you thought would be leading those categories. But I can't. That's not my concern here tonight. Bat flips, and to me, it's fine. But I get everybody has a different perspective. It's not everybody's favorite. Let's go to Renee in Spring Valley. Hi, Renee. You're on the Padres postgame show. What's up?
What's up, Sammy? How you doing tonight, man?
Doing all right.
Hey, listen. So, it's hard, when you get on hold and you wait your turn. I want to talk about something, and I get distracted by other things I've heard. But it's real easy for me. I'm listening to the game outside. My son's inside doing his homework, as he should be, and he's watching the game. And I hear him screaming before I hear the play on the radio, and so it's crazy. And then when things go sour, I go in there and I said, son, I blame you. It's your fault. It's all your fault, Gordo. When things aren't going good for us, I blame it on him. And that makes it real easy. I don't blame my players. We don't get salty on them. It's so incredible how, we are fans of the sport, aren't we? Those who tune in and watch and listen and go to the games, and then we could be so mean to these players. Why aren't you on the field doing better than him? These guys are out there doing this. We're not. And so it's incredible. But, I like the fight in my team, and I look at it like this. I was talking with myself. I said, look, we have just played some of the toughest teams out the gate. We had, I told them, this is the beginning, the first third of our season is postseason play. And you know what? We're taking our lumps right now. We're taking them hard. We got people down. People ain't on. We're all over the place. But you know what? We're here, and, baby, we're in this. I don't lose heart. And you know what? The other thing, and during the game, I got a call from a cousin, invited me to the game tomorrow. I walked into my son's room, interrupted his homework studies again, and I said, you know what? I'm taking it. It's not your fault anymore. It's my fault, and I'm taking it into my own hands. I'm going to be in the game tomorrow. And he's like, oh, Papi? I said, yeah, that's right. So you know what that means for the Reds? Bad news for the Reds. Because I'm coming to haunt tomorrow, baby.
Yeah, Renee, thank you for the phone call, and I hope you're the good luck charm tomorrow. Look, there was a lot there. I appreciate your positivity, and certainly come out to the game tomorrow, cheer your loudest, and hope for a win, and maybe you'll be the good luck charm tomorrow. I want to circle back to something you brought up, though, about the schedule. And you're right, the schedule's really, really hard. It has been hard. It's a really tough early season schedule. We've talked about it before. But here's the problem, Renee. It's not getting any easier, and it is up to this Padres team to match the level of their competition and get through this schedule still afloat. Because if you don't play well, it could get out of hand really quick. You got 2 more against the Reds, 3 after that in Arizona coming up this coming week. Hey, Arizona's off to a so-so start. They went to the World Series a year ago. Cubs, 3 at Wrigley Field. Dodgers at home for 3. Then you get the Rockies for 3, but hey, we know that's no guarantee. Atlanta for 4, tough. Cincinnati for 3, tough. Yankees at home for 3, tough. Miami at home for 3, little easier. Kansas City's off to a great start, tough. In Anaheim, all right, a little bit easier, but on the road. Back home for Arizona for 3. I could go on. I mean, this continues. You got Oakland. They're playing okay by A's standards. Mets on the road in New York, East Coast trip, then Philadelphia, Milwaukee. I mean, look, part of the issue with the new playoff format and just in the National League, there are a number of good teams, and these are teams that you're going to battle for postseason spots against. But my point being is I just read the schedule until June 23rd, up through that Milwaukee series. I mean, most of those series are against good teams. So you can't sit here and say, and Renee, I respect your opinion, but I don't think you can sit here and say, well, this is the Padres' time to take their lumps. Well, number one, if you're a team that plans to get into the postseason, you got to hold your own and beat those teams with some regularity. And number two, if you don't start playing better, this thing could get out of hand based on this schedule. So it is April 29th, but they've got to start winning more games. And you can't have losing streaks of 5 games. And you can't hit like the way you did tonight. And you can't pitch like the way they pitched over the last week and a half out of the starting rotation. You know, again, you can take your lumps. Like when you say take your lumps, that's so, like, I can take the Phillies series. Okay, they're playing really, really, really well, and they're a great team. That's a team that's going to compete for a World Series this year, no doubt. Okay, not only do they have a deep lineup, there's rotation, on and on. We saw them. All right, you got swept. You didn't play well. Your pitching wasn't great. All right, you know. But that can happen over a series. It can't happen over the course of weeks and months. You know, that's where you get in trouble. So, you know, and we've got a comment here, you know, Max, every team plays every other team. Quit complaining about the schedule. Max, I'm not complaining about the schedule. I hope it doesn't come off as complaining. I'm just making the point here. There are not many easy series here. So, you know, we can talk about it being late April. And do I think you should push the panic button in late April? You know, I don't know what's your definition of panic button, but you don't have a lot of time to keep playing like this because the schedule's tough. So I don't mean to sound like I'm complaining about it. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just illustrating it and pointing out that there's a lot of tough teams they're going to have to play here in the next 2 months. I mean, it just doesn't get easier. And look, there are a lot of good teams in baseball. So it's about the Padres more than anything, about them playing better, about them avoiding nights like tonight when you have 23 in a row set down. It just can't happen. You got to play better at home. It's all the stuff we've talked about throughout the last hour now here on the postgame show. All right, let's squeeze one more phone call in before we go to break. Let's go to Oceanside. It's Chet on the Padres Radio Network. Hi, Chet. How are you?
Hey there, Sammy. I was wondering how these people are saying Waldron isn't the issue when, if you were at the game today, which I know you were, and I was too, he was getting lit up. Every ball was hit to deep outfield, and it was either getting caught, getting gone, or doubles. I don't know how. And his strikeout rate is atrocious. He was not getting any strikeouts tonight. What do you have to say, Sammy?
Well, let me ask you this, Chet, and I'm genuinely asking you because I think there's an argument to be made. I mean, look, I don't personally think Waldron's been all that bad. I thought he found a way to settle in tonight. That's what I think. Who would you rather be starting games instead of Matt Waldron?
I mean, that's a tough question, but it's just tonight, the second to fourth inning, every pitch was just lit up. And he could not get a strikeout to save his life. I needed one more strikeout to cash my parlay, and he was not getting it.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry he didn't hit your parlay, Chet. Thank you for the phone call. I don't know. Maybe you're upset about that. Look, I said it earlier. Was Waldron perfect tonight? Has he been perfect this season? No. Did I think he did a good job settling in and keeping it a 4-1 game? I do. And I just don't think in the grand scheme of this game tonight that Waldron was the primary issue. Again, but it's been everybody lately. I mean, we saw it in the Phillies series. Getting down 3-4 runs, constant home runs. no shutdown innings even after you score. I mean, it's been a real issue, the starting pitching as of late. I don't think Matt Waldron, when you look at the issues right now for the San Diego Padres here tonight, and let's say in the last 12 games where they're 3-9, I don't think Matt Waldron is towards the top of the list. I think for a number 5, who he is, lack of experience, I think he's been okay. He hasn't been perfect. Okay, tonight wasn't perfect, but meanwhile, you look at the final line, all right, 6 innings, 4 runs. There's been moments where he's been hit hard. There's been moments where he's been pretty good. I don't think he's primarily an issue right now. Now, if you want to tell me, hey, I think if you want to tell me, hey, I think the Padres should, give Johnny Brito an opportunity to start games because he's shown in some long relief appearances that he's really effective. He's part of the Soto trade. He's somebody you were considering for the number 5 spot out of spring training. You want to say that to me, and the Padres decide, hey, we want to give somebody else a shot, see if they can do a little bit better. We're going to put Waldron in the bullpen or whatever they want to do. You can sell me on that. I'm not going to kick and scream. I mean, you can sell me on that. I don't see Waldron being like the primary issue right now, both tonight and in the grand scheme of things. If you're telling me you want somebody else, okay, yeah, you could sell me on that. You could sell me, hey, give Brito a shot. Maybe you really see what you got in Brito as a starter, and maybe he's really, really good. Okay, and it improves your number 5 spot. You can sell me on that, but I just don't think Waldron was the major issue tonight. I don't. So. Understand out there your perspective may be a little bit different, but I just look at 23 in a row retired from the 2nd through 2 outs in the 9th, and to me, that is what I circle here tonight. Let's step aside, may mix in some more of your phone calls, tweets, DMs if you want to get involved. 833-288-0973. Find me on Twitter, Instagram at SammyLev, SammyLev. On those platforms, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, you can comment there as well. May just read your comment here on the air. Definitely a frustrating night for the Padres as they fall 5-2 to the Cincinnati Reds. Padres have now lost 5 consecutive games. More after this on the Padres Radio Network.
Looking for a great deal to be a
Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Final score, Reds 5 and the Padres 2, as the Padres have now lost 5 in a row. They dropped to 14-18. Reds improved to 16-13 on the year. Well, we have an old friend alert tomorrow. If you haven't heard, right-hander Nick Martinez on the mound for the Reds tomorrow, former Padre, and we just learned, what was it, about a half hour, 45 minutes ago, that Yu Darvish will come off the IL tomorrow to make the start. So Yu Darvish for the Padres, Nick Martinez for the Reds tomorrow, as the Padres will try to get this thing turned around, losers of 5 consecutive games. We will have our play of the game coming up here in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. Get you ready for tomorrow. I do want to get through a couple more phone calls, let you sound off on this ball game here tonight, and so we'll get through these quickly. And then, quite frankly, I'm hungry, and I'm ready to get out of here after a post-game show here tonight. A frustrating night for the Padres. Let's knock out a couple of calls here. Let's go to Daniel calling in from San Diego. Hi, Daniel. You're on the Padres post-game show. How are you?
Hi, thank you. I'm just trying to put my 2 cents in. Just saying that we have a great squad, but look, these guys, Bogarts, Manny, you know what? I'm even going to throw Tatis in there. They're making their money. They got great big contracts. You're getting paid. You're getting paid to play, man. You take your money. I mean, you signed the contract. I hope they're listening. I really do. Take your money, man. But you know what? You can play it one way or another, man. You want to be respected? You want to be in the Hall of Fame? You know what I'm saying? You will play. You're gonna play dedicated, loyal, trustworthy. I mean, you're gonna do it. We got a great squad, and it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how we're playing. And, I mean, I'm not losing my faith. I believe in these guys, but, yeah, it's early in the season. I don't think we're out of it. I mean, we're totally in it, but.
Yeah, you're in it. It's 32 games
I think they can do better, obviously, and they will. But I want to send a message to them directly, and I hope they're listening, man. You can take your money, and you'll be forgotten. But you play your dedication, your contract. Play it to the end, and do it dedicated. You can make the Hall of Fame. You can do something here, but. Like this, man, you're playing selfishly, and that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Now, Daniel, appreciate the phone call. Look, 32 games in, you're still in it, so that's one piece of good news here tonight. Look, your point's taken in this sense. They need more from those 3 guys. They're the 3 highest paid players on the team. They're the 3 most important players, you could argue, on the team. And in this lineup, certainly, with Fernando, Manny, and Bogarts, and they need more. It's much like last year. I mean, that part of it is not changed in the sense of the Padres, in all likelihood, will go as far as their big guys will take them. That's the reality. Manny, Fernando, Xander. In the Phillies series, they were 4 for 29 combined with 1 double. Here tonight, they were 2 for 11. So combined, that's 6 for 40. And tonight, they didn't have an extra base hit. So the last 4 games, those 3 are 6 for 40 with 1 extra base hit. Yeah, they need more. Simply put, need more out of those 3 guys. Desperately, because the Padres in all likelihood will go as far as those guys take them. And they need those guys to play like all-stars and play like the guys that were brought here. And do I think they can? I do. But they need it. They need it. So, Daniel, I understand what you're saying. They need those guys to perform at an extremely high level and to carry this offense more nights than not. They need it. And 6 for 40 over a span of 4 games is not that. So we shall see what what those three guys bring tomorrow, Wednesday, and the days to come after that. Let's go to Poway. It's Gavin on the Padres Radio Network. Hi, Gavin. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing well.
I was just wondering, if we kept Juan Soto instead of the trade, do you think we would be over 500 right now? And what are your thoughts on the trade now that we are a couple games into the season?
Gavin, appreciate the phone call. Fair questions. Are they over 500 right now with Juan Soto? I don't know. I mean, would it make your lineup better? Obviously, because it's Juan Soto and he'd be in your lineup. Okay, so your lineup, your offense, I suppose on paper would be better. So you could make the argument you could be a better team. The argument against that was this team was in a very similar position this time last year with Juan Soto on it and in this lineup. And, I don't know. So, to be honest with you, Gavin, and not to dismiss your question, what does it matter? I mean, he's not here. The trade was made, and now now your lineup is without him. So, hypothetically, could make a difference. But this team was in a very similar spot last year with Juan here at this point in the season. As far as the trade, look, I think there's far more factors that went into it beyond just the package you got back, right? It appeared that money, the number that Soto was going to get this year, that probably wasn't going to be something the Padres were going to pay him based on the reduction in payroll. Okay, that's kind of clear at this point. So it was about more than just moving on from him and seeing what you could get back. In time, we'll judge that trade, right? I think 32 games is really, really far too early to judge that trade, and that's for a couple of reasons. Number one, we don't know what Michael King ultimately is yet as a consistent starting pitcher, every 5 days. We don't know what Johnny Brito really is yet. We don't know what Randy Vasquez really is yet. Quite frankly, you can even now connect the Soto trade to the Cease trade because Thorpe was one of the key pieces that went to Chicago in the Cease trade. So that's now kind of, woven into the Soto trade. I think it's far too early to be judging that kind of stuff. And I also think there's going to be the mystery to what we'll never be able to definitively know. Unless we're just assuming the Padres were never going to give out that kind of contract that Soto's going to command this offseason. But, if you weren't going to re-sign him after next year, like we talked about at the time, after this year, like we talked about at the time, you can make the argument, forget about the money, you should try to get something back for him. So I just think it's far too early to judge the trade. And as far as what would they be with Soto in this lineup right now, A, it doesn't matter, and B, I don't know that it's better. Again, and I'd have to look up where exactly they were in 32 games last year, but we know early part of the season it started going south, and they got under 500, and it took them forever to get back to 500. So I don't know how much of a difference it would make. They were in a similar spot last year at this time with Juan here. So, quite frankly, doesn't matter. And the trade, it's too early. We're 32 games in. And I think that trade, I think any trade, but I think that one in particular, it's going to take a little while for it to sort out and see what happens and what the package does. And now you got the Cease part of it that's sort of, woven into it a little bit. So I think it's a little too early to be determining who, quote-unquote, won the trade for Soto. And also, it's interesting because I think, and I'm just going on here about the Soto part, not that it matters right now here tonight, the interesting part about the Soto, the whole thing, is there's a lot of different factors in trades in one player to consider, right? Because I think when you look back at Juan Soto's tenure and the trades, both to get him and then trade him away in a Padres uniform, you're going to have to look at it through the prism of what did you give up to initially get him? What did you accomplish with him? What did you get back in return for him once you traded him away? And what happened after that for the San Diego Padres? It's lot of different tentacles to that whole Soto deal. What you know, when you got him, when you traded him away, and the Cease trade. I mean, there's a lot of tentacles to that deal, and we'll see in the next few years ultimately how that's assessed and how we judge the whole thing. So fascinating, no doubt. It's the Soto part of it. His time in San Diego, it's a fascinating chapter and part, I think, of Padres history here to see how that ultimately shakes out and how we ultimately judge it. All right, back to tonight. Reds win it 5-2 over the Padres on a frustrating night for the Padres offense. Let's hear our play of the game.
What was the crucial play that determined who came out on top? This is today's Play of the Game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Here's the 2-2. Kim swings and misses at the curveball, strike 3, and the inning is over. Strikeout number 11 for Nick Lodolo, who has retired the last 16 Padres to come to bat.
Nick Lodolo, that strikeout in the 7th inning to give him 7 innings, 1 run given up, 11 strikeouts. I know that's not typically our play of the game, but here tonight, it kind of has to be something from Lodolo because of how this game went. You know, again, Profar the nice moment early, but that got erased pretty quickly with the 2 runs in the top of the 2nd for the Reds. Yeah, it's a strikeout in the 7th inning, but again, to that point, you know, the Padres had gone down 1-2-3 after the 2 walks in the 2nd, once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times in a row at that point. And Lodolo had sit down 18 in a row going back to the 2nd. So, yeah, I think it's got to be just something emblematic of kind of the frustration tonight in that sense. So, a little bit of a weird play of the game. Trust me, as I always say, it doesn't give me any great pleasure to have that as our play of the game tonight, but just is what it is here tonight. All right, we preview tomorrow. Interesting pitching matchup tomorrow for a couple of reasons. Number one, right-hander Yu Darvish on the mound for the Padres. He will come off the IL tomorrow, as we learned from Mike Schilt earlier, and he will, again, make that starting game 2 of this 3-game series. Right-hander Nick Martinez on the mound for the Reds. Yes, that Nick Martinez, our old friend Nick Martinez. So that's an interesting pitching matchup tomorrow. Darvish for the Padres, Martinez on the mound for the Reds. First pitch tomorrow at 6:40, and our Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show will begin at 5:40. A couple of reminders for you before we wrap this one up. Number one, if you have not checked out our video streaming, we are doing that for the first time in the last handful of days here. I almost don't want to mention this, but ever since we started doing video, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, where you can actually watch me whether I'm in the studio or here at the ballpark, ever since we started doing that, the Padres have not won a game. So I'm not saying like it's the curse of us going to video streaming. I don't know. But we began it on Thursday in Colorado. Has not gone well on the field for the Padres since, but I'm telling you right now, the powers that be, they're not going to say to me, hey, can you not do the video stream because maybe the Padres will win if you don't do the video stream. I don't think our video stream has much impact on the actual ball game, but that is the situation right now. So my point is, if you have not checked out the video stream, feel free to, over the course of the next few days, please subscribe to the 97.3 and my own YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our pre- and post-game coverage. Both shows are on there on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, each and every night. The cool thing is you can actually, we have the link to the show up. You can see it's scheduled pretty well in advance of when I actually go on air. So if you want to actually set a notification for yourself, it's kind of cool. You can then get notified on your phone or whatever you're watching on. And when I go on the air for pregame, postgame, you can actually get notified. So feel free to subscribe, sign up for the notifications, and check out the video streams if you have not already. And, of course, we are still posting to the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast each and every day. That's where you can find my full postgame shows, all the reaction, radio highlights, Mike Schultz postgame comments, and you can find all that good stuff there. And, of course, that's the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast with Sam Levitt. Search it up on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. Taking a look at the final totals in this one here tonight. For the Reds, 5 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. They left on 4. For the Padres, 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 error. They left on 4. Winning pitcher, Nick Lodolo, who improves to 3-0. Losing pitcher, Matt Waldron, who drops to 1-3. Time of game, 2 hours, 28 minutes. And the crowd here at Petco Park on a beautiful Monday night, 39,158. Once again, first pitch tomorrow at 6:40. Pre-game coverage begins at 5:40. Until then, for our great studio coordinator tonight, Nick Danucci, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park. Again, the final score here tonight, the Cincinnati Reds 5 and the San Diego Padres 2. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network.